Welcome to episode 106 of the All the Book Show podcast.
Hey, you sound down.
No.
You seem so sad.
No.
Try it again. Try it again with a little more oomph. Go.
Okay. Hi, guys! This is episode 106 of the podcast!
All right, now you sound like you're on Sesame Street.
That's true, yeah.
And not well. Those two things. This is episode 106.
Oh my gosh. I can't hear episode 106 anymore.
I'm Nick Gunning.
I'm Eric Mickles. We talk about book news, author news, and literary news on this podcast.
Yeah.
This new medium.
Which we've been doing for over 2 years.
Yeah.
Over 100 episodes.
Uh-huh.
A lot of fun.
That's 100 hours.
Good times.
That's
Yeah.
more than 100 hours.
It is more. Some of those, that James Bond one is still going somewhere.
Yeah. Do you
So,
know...
a lot of long ones.
I don't think I told you this, but
I
we've
don't think
been
you did either.
contacted by NASA, and they're going to be collecting about 20 of our episodes.
Oh my gosh.
Sending it out into space.
They're going to engrave them on a solid gold vinyl record.
Yep.
Well, it's not vinyl, it's solid gold, but record and sending it out into space?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So someday aliens will be like, oh,
Yeah.
James Patterson, book shots.
Yeah, they're going
What
to
our species is
take me
missing.
to your leader, James Patterson. What? It's going to be real confusing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to
Amy
be
Adams will figure it
be using a listener suggestion. So our thanks to Twitter user MissMusicBox91 for suggesting that we talk about the old high school reading list. It's back to school time, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our collection.
We're going to learn what a weird school you went to.
That's true. We're going to hear some listener responses to our question of the reading list books that moved you the most, and we're just gonna roll through it. See what happens. It's going to be magical. So thanks again. Anytime listeners want to suggest a topic for us to do, we're happy to cover it. Unless it's weird. We don't want to do a weird one.
Yeah.
But
we won't say if it's weird, but know that our unresponse means it was weird.
Is an indictment on the weirdness
Yeah.
of your suggestion.
Yeah.
We haven't said this in a while, but you can find us on Facebook at David A. Howe Public Library. Send your thoughts there. You can find us on Twitter at...
All the Book Show.
That's right. Of course, you can always find us on SoundCloud. You can leave comments and things there. SoundCloud.com/allthebooks. You can find us on iTunes. Hey, and while you're at iTunes, leave us a rating. Also, tell your friends.
Yeah.
So, now that we've covered that, if
So
we
you're
have
telling
any...
me I can buy this car.
yeah.
It's only going to cost me this.
If we have any new listeners, they're like, I'm not going to rate this podcast based on that lackluster introduction. So,
Whoa.
sorry about that,
Excuse
folks.
you.
But that's what we're going to be talking about today.
If you have an opinion on whether or not they're EL fudge cookies or elf fudge cookies, let us know.
Oh my gosh.
Nick's been going crazy
oh my
lately.
gosh.
I won't tell you which one he thinks, but he thinks it's the crazy one.
Yeah, the Keebler elf cookies. There are two options.
Yeah.
It's either E, L, and then fudge, or
Right.
you just pronounce it all elf fudge.
Right.
Even though there's only one F.
I don't understand your problem.
that's fine. So if you want to also weigh in on that, that would be
Yes.
really helpful.
I'm team elf fudge because that's the only way anyone should say it.
Oh, hey, you know what? We just got a response to our question on Facebook. I'm going to read it live. Facebook user Joe says, Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky was his most influential book.
Okay.
So
Slow
thanks,
down.
Joe. Thanks, Joe. We're going to
Save
dig into
that
that
for the
more.
segment.
Well,
Jeez.
it's dynamic. It just came in now while I'm looking at it.
true.
This is a living, breathing podcast, baby.
This is a work of art that never starts.
Sure
never
is.
stops.
Well, let's talk about our bookmarks. Moving into our first segment here,
Oh,
Eric.
let's slow
What
down.
have you got? What do you got to suggest?
Wait,
You ready?
hold on. Is that the eclipse?
Well, I can't do
Is
this
the eclipse
again.
happening right now?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I can't go down that road.
All right.
What have you been reading?
What am I reading? What have I read?
Yeah.
I'm not just coming up with a really sweet song.
Okay.
This is me going. Okay.
You looking?
I think this is the first podcast where I can say I finished the 5th season.
Oh boy!
So I
And
finished it.
Did it have a big surprise 11th hour
No.
exciting ending? No.
No,
Okay.
I didn't like
Not
it.
good.
I still
Well,
don't know.
Good news, everyone. We have the whole trilogy in the collection now, so
That's
you can
true.
check it out.
And again, the first and second one were both Hugo winners.
Yeah.
She's actually, I don't think we mentioned this last time, but she's now only the
N.K. Jemisin.
N.K. Jemisin is now only the third author to win 2 years in a row.
Really?
Yes.
Who are the others?
Orson Scott Card won
sure.
for Ender's Game and
Speaker of the Dead.
Speaker of the Dead. And I cannot remember for the life of me the other person.
That's all right. You can figure it out
Yeah.
while I'm talking.
So that's still impressive.
So you finished it. You didn't like it.
No, I did
Are
not
you
like
going to read book 2?
I'm going to have
Someday.
to.
Okay,
Yeah.
someday you're going to
And
read book 2.
who knows? The rate things are going, she might win
Yeah.
again.
That's true.
I think she'd be
that's
the
called
first
a-
person.
A hat trick?
Is it?
If it's bowling, that's called a turkey.
Oh.
I don't know what it is in the world of sci-fi literature. So,
So
a
again,
Klingon?
this is a fantasy novel, not a lot of plot.
Okay.
Kind of
Well, What a stirring endorsement that was.
I don't have to endorse it.
No, you don't.
But it has a 4 point. What I got to get this point right. It's a 4.3 rating on Goodreads. And as I scrolled down, it took forever to find anything that was negative.
Do you ever do that? Like sometimes when I'm reading a book that I hate, I go to Goodreads and I just like try to find the 1-star reviews till I find somebody who says exactly what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Probably not the healthiest approach. But.
Yeah, going through the 5th season ratings, I'm like, am I going crazy? Am I the only one who cares if there's like a plot?
I know.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, it's moving.
That happens, you know?
Drove me to tears. I'm like, to tears?
Sometimes.
Anyway, I also read Superior. This is a comic book. This is a graphic novel written by Mark Millar.
Oh, yeah.
The art by Len Liu. Mm-hmm. He did the art for Superman Birthright.
Oh, I like that art.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Actually, I think part of me has to think that was done on purpose because this is kind of a Superman story.
Yeah.
A boy with a crippling disease gets his wish granted. He's able to become his favorite superhero character, Superior, and who is basically, in name, outside of the name, is Superman.
Okay.
Has all the powers and everything, and like he has a series of movies that are like the
Chris Reeves
the
movies.
Chris Reeve movies.
That's funny.
In The Kid, talks about, like, everybody's like, Superior's not cool anymore. He's like, he is cool because he does the right thing when no one else does and all this. And so if they turn this into a movie, it would probably be the first good Superman movie we would have.
And as our listeners may recall, Netflix struck a huge deal with Mark Millar.
Yeah, I'd be
adapt
interested.
his properties.
Because it's a big budget. Like, there's a lot of big budget action scenes in here.
Yeah.
And how he gets the powers there might be a twist in there as well.
Okay.
But it's fun. It's cool. There's a lot of Superman tropes that are played around with, but I enjoyed it, and that's why I think the artist was chosen because
to just
to make it feel like
Superman,
a Superman series.
That makes sense.
And I started reading The 3-Body Problem. Let me tell you something. This might be an unpopular opinion.
I'm ready.
1 body, fine.
Yeah.
2 bodies, sure. 3 bodies, no way.
You got yourself a problem.
That's a problem.
At that point.
Yeah.
That's where things get really bad.
So this is by, I need to get these 2 names right.
You do.
This is like a hard sci-fi book. That's usually when the science is like right at the forefront. And sometimes it can be a little daunting. I like to say I enjoy it, and then I start reading, I'm like, what are you talking about? This is by Leo Sinzin, and it's translated by Ken Lau. And this was written by, I did it again. It's either Lao Sinzin or Leo Sinzin. And then it should be Ken Lau or Ken Liu.
It's all right.
Anyway, this was the Hugo winner the year it came out. Obama himself, former President Barack Obama, read this.
Did he like it?
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Okay.
So Sinzin is the author. Lao is the translator, because this was written in in China.
Okay.
And I think this is it's interesting because it made me realize like how ignorant I am in most like Asian country history. Like I know American, we know European history, and then like a lot of us nerds know a lot of Japanese history. Right. But as he's talking about this, like he's talking about China in just the 60s, I'm like, this was going on in China in the 60s? And so it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of I don't know if it's because of how it's translated or just because of how the author writes it. A lot of phrasing sometimes seems close to how you would say something, but it's, I don't know. It's extended.
Okay.
There's less, what's the phrase?
Is this a pro or a con that you're describing here?
No,
Is it
it's
good?
just interesting. What contraction? There's less contractions.
Okay.
So
purposely.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a purposeful, like, odd manner of speaking.
Yeah.
Is it futuristic? Is it set in the future?
It's set. So I only just got to the part that seems like it's set 40 years after. It was set in the 60s.
Right.
And now it seems like it's going to be set in the present.
Okay.
Or maybe it's going to be set in the future.
Okay.
I only got to part 2.
All right.
I'm
So
only 50
a lot of
pages in.
conjecture. No real concrete.
No, it's interesting so far. Apparently, it's about
China in the 60s. We got it.
aliens planning to come to Earth and how we're going to react to that.
Okay.
So-
Poorly.
Probably.
Would be my guess.
Yeah. Again, Amy Adams will be on the scene.
Okay. That's good. That's good. As long as she's there. Is that it?
Yes.
that it for you?
I started watching *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Okay.
So I don't know how. The first season so far isn't fantastic, and I wouldn't recommend it off of what I've seen so far.
Okay.
But I'm told, and I've read that the next seasons get really good.
Okay.
And the fourth season just started. It's supposed to be really good. So I have to finish the first season to get to the good stuff, and then maybe I can recommend it or not.
Okay.
So it's basically, I've read some reviews that are like, I'm not going to mention Mad Men in this review, and then they still end up doing it anyway. And you can tell, like, Lee Pace definitely feels like they looked at Don Draper.
Yeah.
And were like,
this is hacking? That's what the show is about?
No, it's about, right now the first season is about somebody trying to get in on the personal computer business.
I see.
They're trying to copy IBM without infringing on the legality of it. So it's set in like 1980. Somebody just saw Return of the Jedi in theaters.
83, right?
Yeah, so that's 83. So I guess the fourth season is the last one, and it all takes place over like 10 years.
Okay.
Heading towards like the internet and stuff. I know the third season ends with Super Mario Brothers being in, like, a plot point.
Yes.
The first one. So
I'm in.
And the new season has Super Mario Kart. So
Ooh.
I guess that's why I got
you just track your Mario progress. Which Mario you're playing? That's how you figure out where you are in the time stream.
Yep. The time stream.
All right. I haven't read a lot since last week. The only thing I finished was volume 1 of the Dark Knight Strikes Again, the Frank Miller much derided.
Did you return that
sequel? I did,
because I got that by accident. I thought I was getting the whole
I did
story.
return it. I know. We've ordered the full Frank Miller Batman set.
Yeah.
So
as kind of a self-punishment to ourselves for having the graphic novel collection.
Well, the new one's coming out, and so we're gonna have this whole thing.
Us reading the Dark Knight Master Race will be like monks when they used to go out in a parade and paddle themselves.
Yeah, pretty much. So if you don't know, Frank Miller's Batman stuff that people like would be Batman Year One and The Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
I don't particularly like The Dark Knight Returns, but people do.
I do.
Then there's The Dark Knight Strikes Again,
which is pretty much
everyone
reviled.
hates. It's the second one. Yeah. Then there's Dark Knight Master Race,
which is 3.
And then
the prequel.
There's a prequel.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns, The Last Crusade.
Yeah.
So we're going to have all of these. Yeah. We can talk about it more if people want us to, but maybe they don't.
Yeah, maybe they don't.
We'll drop it there. So I read that first, and I sort of liked the beginning of it. We'll see where it goes the rest of the way. I'm still reading Acts of Contrition, that Star Trek palate cleanser that I picked up after my series of dark books that I was reading for the book club. And I started, speaking of book club, Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen.
There you go.
We're doing a special Jane Austen book club.
Right.
So that's what we're reading. I like it so far.
Okay. You used to say that our bookmark should be a suggestion box, is like where we suggest things.
I think, one way or another, whether we like it or not.
You've read a lot of Star Trek books since we've done this podcast.
Yeah.
Any of them that you would just recommend straight out to, like, anybody who say nobody's picked up Star Trek books before? Mm-hmm. Are any of the books that you've read since we've done this podcast something that you'd be like,
since I've done
this podcast in the 2 years? Is there one
in the 2 years of Star Trek
in
books
recent memory, I guess,
that I've read?
Is there one that you'd be like, hey, maybe you like Star Trek, you never read a book? Check this one out.
That's a tough one. I'd have to think about it and get back to you.
Well,
I mean,
if
certainly
not, we do have a Star Trek centered podcast.
Yeah.
I can't
episode, you mean?
Yes, we do have an episode where we talked about Star Trek.
Yeah, my brother Steve was here.
Yep.
So it's solid.
Okay.
Right there.
I was just wondering, because you're always reading but you never it's always kind of like you're ashamed to admit that you're reading Star Trek.
No, well, here's the thing. The new stuff is all really serialized, so it's really hard to just pick up a book. Right. So this Voyager one I'm reading, it's right in the middle of the Voyager relaunch, and it would make no sense out of context. That's kind of funny
because that's the opposite of the new Star Wars books.
Yeah,
they're all very standalone.
Well, see, I always used to say I wish that the Star Trek books were more like the Star Wars books because I would like to be able to follow a continuity. Now, it's like if I ever want to pick one up, I'm like, where is this? Where does this come from?
Yeah.
It's really hard.
You got to be careful what you wish for.
I'm going to give you 2 quick recommendations.
Okay, here we go.
Original series, The Entropy Effect by Vonda McIntyre. It's just a good sci-fi book. Okay. We have it in the collection. It's a time travel story. You don't really need to have much, if any, knowledge of Star Trek to read it and enjoy it.
There you go.
For Next Gen, Imzadi by Peter David, but you do need to have watched the Next Gen series. So there's lots more, but I'll stop.
There you go. Cool.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. So anyway, just those 2. Book Club is Contemporary Classics is currently doing a classic versus a contemporary with Northanger Abbey. Page Turner's Book Club, we're just finishing up Nobody Knows by Mary Jane Clark, getting ready to start The Apprentice, which is originally an Isles book by Tess Gerritsen. So you can always join us for those. We have a lot of fun. It's very laid back. No like preset questions. It's just kind of a fun, open discussion that often goes off the rails, if I'm being fully honest with you right now. Yes.
Okay. The other author who won, going back.
Oh, yeah, for Hugo, sure.
Is Louise McMaster Bejeweled.
Oh, Bejeweled. Yeah. We've talked about her a bunch.
Yeah.
She's on there all over the place.
Yes.
I think she's won a lot for short stories and things, too. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, do you want to get into some book news now?
No.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, okay. All right, well, what a twist that was.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to start you with large print this week. Large print fans coming out, and this is going to come out in September, actually. Rayanne Thane, this is book 6 in her Haven Point series. This is a popular cozy series. Not necessarily romance, but just sort of cozy, inspirational. In the town of Haven Point, love can't be just a wish and one magical kiss. Oh, love can be just a wish.
Well, which is it? That's important.
It is. In the town of Haven Point, love can be just a wish and one magical kiss away. So this one, I guess, is more in the romance genre. So forget what I said.
Right.
You can check this out in large print in September.
Okay.
Coming out in standard print, while we're on the topic of sci-fi and fantasy, Brandon Sanderson is re-releasing a short novel that was previously published in a big collection. Now it's getting its own standalone release called Edge Dancer. From #1 New York Times bestselling author Brandon Sanderson, a special gift edition of Edge Dancer, a short novel of the Stormlight Archive. Do you know about this offshoot series?
I hadn't heard of this. I've read the first book of the Stormlight Archives.
Okay.
That's The Way of Kings.
Okay. So this is just, they're just pulling this one out and putting it out fancy like this. It's a novella, so it hasn't had an individual release before.
Right.
Brandon Sanderson,
He does that.
I think currently is our most popular fantasy author, wouldn't you say?
In the world?
No, I mean here.
Besides George R.R. Martin.
You think George R.R. Martin takes it?
Well, I think he does because of the show.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of another author who would be that pot. Maybe Dinosaur Lords, as we just found out.
Yeah, seriously. Our book, Dinosaur Lords, which Eric tried to read and hated, has had, 36 checkouts in the last year?
For just a book called...
That's pretty high for a sci-fi fantasy book about dinosaur lords.
Yes.
So I did order the sequel, folks. Yes. So if you're one of the 36 people who've enjoyed Dinosaur Lords in the last couple of months, look no further.
But yes, Sanderson is very big in our fantasy section.
Yeah.
So, well, he's got a lot, too.
Yeah, he does. He does. Deep Freeze by John Sanford. This is going to be a big hit here. Usually, I think, for us, people like his main series. I can't remember who stars in that. His Prey series. John Sanford's. Okay. John Sanford's Prey series is super popular.
Johnny Prey.
This is set in that world, but it follows Virgil Flowers. I read one of the Virgil Flowers books a while back and actually enjoyed it a lot more than I enjoyed the main Prey series. So this is Deep Freeze, Virgil Flowers Book 10, coming to you in October. Class reunions, a time for memories, good, bad, and as Virgil Flowers is about to find out, deadly, in the thrilling new novel in the #1 New York Times best-selling series. This is pretty popular. Lucas Davenport, that's it. Lucas Davenport is the star of the Prey series, and he's Virgil Flowers' boss. So Virgil's kind of off doing his own separate thing, and Lucas is just a minor character in this series. So if you like the Lucas Davenport series, I think you'd probably like this. It's less violent, it's less cerebral, and a little bit more hands-on detective.
Okay.
So give it a shot if you haven't already.
You think detectives are hands-on? You would contaminate every single scene you'd be at there. What's this?
Fair point.
What's this?
Fair point.
Nick.
You're a hands-off detective. New from America's sweetheart, America's favorite storyteller, the greatest living author, as she sometimes claims for herself. Actually, in 1989... Danielle Steele was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as having at least one of her books on the Times bestseller list for 381 consecutive weeks. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. You think Danielle Steele is telling people she's the greatest living author?
No, but I mean you hear that a lot just because this is like a similar with the James Patterson, except she's actually writing her own books.
Oh,
it's like no, I didn't mean that as a dig. I'm just saying Danielle Steele doing her own thing and continues to do so.
Yeah.
With no drop off.
Yep.
You know, a lot of authors who, because she started in the 80s, she started in 1981.
She stuffs her pillows with royalty checks.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of authors that really hit big in the 80s, they're not still prolific. And if they are,
sorry, Clive Cussler,
it's little smaller presses.
Yeah.
She's doing it.
Yeah.
So whatever you think, she's winning.
Yeah.
Not like Charlie Sheen, but like really.
Wow. That's dated.
I know. Thanks for pointing that out.
Are you in charge of the new Scary Movie?
Yes, I am. Danielle Steele's Fairy Tale coming to you in October. The perfect book for the holidays. Cinderella set amid the winemaking estates of modern-day Napa Valley, complete with an evil Parisian stepmother.
Listen, if you want it to be for the holiday, you retell Cinderella, modern-day New York, Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve,
yeah,
there's a ball.
Nothing about this says to me that it's Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's holiday.
I'm actually, one, amazed that nobody's done that.
Yeah.
And two, so hungry to go write that and,
do you want to go
make $1 million.
Yeah, it would be, it would be pretty good.
There's a Christmas ball, but my stepmother won't let me go.
Yeah.
Do you think it's still a pumpkin? Because that's going to be off season.
It could be. This is sort of
a yam
coming on the tail end of the YA craze of the
the fairy tale
retelling. So I wonder. I guess that's been big business, fairy tale retelling. So maybe
for the young adult,
yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what
would
place next.
Yeah,
and the adult section, the adult books to start taking off. It would be sexier, that's for sure.
Oh, probably, yeah, definitely. All right, well, that's it for me for advance notices.
All right, well, get out of here.
Oh, okay.
I'm
See you later.
This show on the road.
Stomp. Click, click. What if we were like turned into an old timey radio show where we had a bunch of sound effects? Like, I'm gonna open this closet, and then we have all these.
Yeah,
we could try it.
Okay,
we could try it for episode 200.
Okay, what if we just had a bunch of like car sounds outside your window?
Yeah, that'd
like
be great.
Trucks and
that'd
motorcycles.
Be great.
All right, so on the New York Times bestsellers list for this week, let's take a look.
Let's do it.
So this is the new, best hardcover young adult fiction. We were just talking about young adult. Number 10.
I know.
The Sun is Also a Star.
Yep, sure is.
You still believe that?
Yeah, I do.
You darn fool.
You know what's interesting about these bestseller lists that we cover? Only the hardcover fiction seems to change. Mm-hmm. You know, like nonfiction, as we've discussed, things just stay there forever. Mm-hmm. Young adult, things just stay there forever. Mm-hmm. Seems like the hardcover fiction is the only one that's like truly dynamic.
Yes, maybe.
All right. Just a thought.
Yeah, the young adult section definitely seems to stay, and I think that's just because of fads and stuff. Yeah. Maybe I think it might be harder to get
to like break into that genre. You think,
especially because maybe younger kids or teens are harder to get to read for fun.
That is a funny like change in the publishing world, because it seems like it used to be like, oh, it's a kid's book, whatever, like throw it out there. And now it's like the YA world is super competitive because it's big business. It has such an adult fan base, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's number 9?
Number 9 is The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. Mm-hmm. So this is the story of you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's lonely at the top. All my other magician friends are gone.
Yeah.
It's just me. I am the last magician.
Yeah. Your life is kind of like the movie Logan, but as a magician.
Yeah.
Somebody who used to do like card tricks and hat tricks.
It's like that. Less head stabbings.
Yeah.
More magic.
Did you see that David Hasselhoff wants to bring back Knight Rider, but he says the way to bring back Knight Rider is to do it like Logan.
Wow.
Could you imagine like a Knight Rider?
No, I can't.
Movie. Like,
also, they've already brought back Knight Rider.
No, but now, like, just
as a TV series.
Just David Hasselhoff living out on his own. Maybe his car is Kit there? Is Kit
I don't know.
Showing up?
Maybe it's just like the voice box. William Daniels also still alive.
Yeah.
Did you know it was Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World who voiced that car?
Yes, I did.
True story.
Do you think maybe it's not Kit? Like maybe it's the voice box, but now there's a prototype that's like Kit.
Oh, yeah.
And Hasselhoff has
Kit
to get
2.0.
Has to get Kit 2.0 to Canada.
Yeah. I like it. Voiced by Daniel Craig.
Okay, sure. What about Craig Ferguson?
That's a different take. Okay. That's a different take.
All right. Let's move on from
Number 8.
Number 8 is Alex and Eliza by Melissa De La Cruz.
Boring.
Really?
This list is just boring to me.
Jeez. All right, let's go back to the nonfiction list.
No, keep going.
Number 7, Crazy House by James Patterson and Gabrielle
It's a Crazy House starring Sinbad.
We have this copy. It's the twin on death row. It's the wrong twin, though.
I remember that.
You think they would be able to tell.
Yeah, you would.
Number 6, This Is Where It Ends, by Marieke Nijkamp. Number 5, Miles Morales, by Spider-Man. Did you finish this?
Wait.
By Spider-Man. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, by Jason Reynolds.
Hey, whatever happened to Sinbad? Is he still around doing stuff?
Where'd that come from? The way I pronounced the author.
No, the one that was like Party House or whatever made me think of House Party.
Crazy House.
Crazy House, yeah.
House
made me
Party.
think of a movie starring Sinbad.
Not House Guest?
Yeah, House Guest.
All right.
Look, it was a long road to get there. I'm not going to deny that.
Number 4, Once and For All, by Sarah Dessen. Number 3, Lord of Shadows, by Cassandra Clare. So it looks like the first book of The Lady Midnight has finally left the list.
Okay.
So that's nice. Number 2, One of Us is Lying, by Karen M. McManus.
Okay.
McManus. I don't know where McManus came from. It's
No one
McManus.
does.
And number 1, The Hate You Give, by Angie Thomas. So now we're on to the adult hardcover fiction.
Okay.
Let's check this out.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh, wow. Into the Water has been shot down all the way to number 14.
Uh-oh.
It's
Sorry,
off
Paula.
the top 10. Paula Hawkins. Eesh. Number 11. Oh, I don't know why I said number 11. All right. Number 10. New this week. A Stranger in the House. Here's another thing.
That also sounds like a Sinbad.
A Stranger in the House?
If it's like in the house.
Yeah.
In like a hip way.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Hip for the 90s.
With the adult fiction,
Yeah.
you have a lot more authors that are writing a book every 4 months.
Hey, you know what? It's very astute.
So if Cassandra Clare was writing a new,
I think she does.
okay.
I think she does.
So this is Stranger in the House is by Sherry Lapina. This is about Karen Crump's life is turned upside down when she suffers amnesia because of a car crash.
Okay.
Remember when that happened to you 2 years ago?
No, I don't.
Yeah. I visited you. I was like, hey, Nick, it's me, your friend Eric. And you're like, you are the cool one?
Turn upside down.
Yeah. Number 9, A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Tolls.
Yeah, there he is.
Number 8, new this week, I Know a Secret.
What is it?
You smell that.
Hey, what? That's the secret?
Yeah.
Everyone knows that, Eric.
It's by Tess Gerstein.
Everyone knows that.
Oh, this is Rizzoli and
Isles.
What
number?
Investigate 2 separate homicides and uncover other dangerous mysteries.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Does it tell you the number? Oh my gosh.
No.
Seasonal allergies, baby.
Yeah, it's the worst. Number 7, The Lying Game by Ruth Ware.
Hold on, stop the presses. While you sneeze, I'm going to tell you we just got another comment on our post. I'm going to read it to you live, folks. Facebook user Ruth says it's a toss-up between The Jungle by Upton Sinclair or Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. All good votes. All good votes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Joe, for your help. All right, continue on, Eric, my sneezing friend.
Oh my gosh, it's like the back of my throat is having a party and somebody brought pepper.
This is truly terrible.
It's like they just hit a piñata and it was full of pepper.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Would you like me to finish the list for you? You got
I
it?
can
You
do this,
good?
man.
Okay.
Number 6 is new this week.
All right.
Exposed by Lisa Scott Aline. Benny Rosetto and Mary D. Nunzio find themselves on opposite sides of a lawsuit threatening their friendship and their law firm.
Oh, no.
Do you think we could still be friends if you were the prosecutor and I was the defendant?
Yeah.
Like, be friends afterwards.
Yeah, I think we could keep it separate.
Do you think we could be friends during the trial?
Probably.
And they'd be like, this defendant is an idiot.
Yeah, and then we get out of the courtroom and be like, hey, man.
I'm so sorry.
I'd be like, hey, no, all's fair. All's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Would you mind signing this?
As a friend, though. As a friend, I'll sign it. Sure.
All right.
Certainly I will.
Number 5, Any Dream Will Do by Debbie McGovern.
Okay.
I can't. This is gonna be rough as because she stays for a few weeks. Debbie
Yeah,
McGovern.
she'll be there for a while.
So
Yep.
I'm just gonna have to close my eyes.
Yeah.
For a second.
Yeah, I'm going to draw back the curtain. Hold on. All right, what's next?
Number 4, The Late Show by Michael Connolly. You didn't finish that, right?
No, I just picked it up and was looking at it, and it started real dull, so.
All right. Number 3, Camino Island by John Grisham.
I haven't read that either.
When are you gonna do it?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's broken your heart one too
Johnny
many times.
G, yeah, he's playing fast and loose with my emotions, and
Yeah.
you know, we had a lot of good years together though, so that's the thing. Hard to say.
Number 2,
Okay.
new this week.
Yep.
The Store by James Patterson
Boring.
and Richard DeLalo.
That one sounded so
2
boring.
New York writers go undercover to expose the secrets of a powerful retailer.
Yeah,
What?
I know.
this guy's marking our books down 50%, and then and our books aren't selling as much.
Yep.
Buying all our copies of ebooks.
Doesn't sound good.
Then no one buys them.
It's about why people don't buy bookshots, right? That's the whole plot.
That's it, yep. How come bookshots failed? It was such a great idea. Well,
let's write a book about that, my friend. Done and done.
Number 1, new this week. Oh, I hate that. And so do our listeners.
They love it.
Seeing Red by Sandra Brown.
Oh.
That's your response after a drum roll?
I know. Sandra Brown. I wouldn't have expected a number 1 from her.
The TV journalist.
Good job, Sandy.
Cara Bailey and former federal agent John Draper joined forces to expose a web of conspiracy behind a hotel bombing in Dallas. All right. How more excited would you be if this said TV journalist... I don't have a name. Never mind. Reese Witherspoon and John...
Denver.
Not Denver. I got nothing. This is a dead bit.
It is.
DOA.
Yeah. I don't really like Reese Witherspoon either. Hey, speaking of which,
I was going to say John Travolta.
Stop the presses. We got a live response. Facebook user
word.
Steven says Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Steven, I'm with you, my friend.
Right.
I too like that book. You know what?
I can't wait for this segment to officially start.
I discovered Hatchet because of this podcast.
Yes.
And my good co-host, Eric Donna Mickles. So thank you, Eric, for...
Donna's not my middle name.
Okay.
I can't remember. Why did we bring up Hatchet?
I don't even remember now.
Maybe I compared it to something.
I think
you know what it was? Very early on, I said I was reading Adrift, which is a young adult book, and I said it reminded me of
Compared
Hatchet.
to Hatchet,
and you're like,
yes.
I've never read Hatchet.
Yeah, now I've read them all.
Yeah, you've read more
I've
Hatchet
read
than anybody.
all of Brian's saga, my friend.
Yeah.
I've written my own entries into Brian's saga.
Yeah, you've got your own...
By the end of that series, Brian's like meeting these guides who live in the woods forever, and he's like, actually, you're an idiot. My name's Brian. I was shipwrecked once. I know everything.
Yeah.
So lost a little bit of steam.
How's your fanfic of Brian stuck on Mars?
It's really good. Yeah. He meets the castaways of Gilligan's Island. So...
Wow.
From the cartoon series Gilligan's Planet. It's a crossover.
Yeah.
So you can do that in fanfic. Oh, here comes the real Ghostbusters.
The real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, they're showing up.
Yeah, we have to. It's true. Otherwise, you got an ape with one of them.
Yeah.
So that's rough.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No.
Anyway, Sandra Brown.
That's it.
Reese
that was
Witherspoon.
number 1.
Speaking of Reese Witherspoon, I should have mentioned during our bookmark that my wife and I started Big Little Lies,
the movie
starring Reese Witherspoon, based on the book by Leanne Moriarty, which we all loved.
Yeah.
The show didn't really grab me right away. It's like 6 or 7 episodes, so we'll probably finish it, but I was expecting a little bit more excitement. But I feel like it's one of those ones where if you've read the book and you know all the turns, it's hard. It's like The Martian. It's kind of hard to go with the atmosphere because you're like this, then this, then this, and this. But I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what time it is? It's time to go back to school. I thought maybe you'd sing with me when I started. Just
which one were you doing?
Back to school spotlight. Just
I guess I guess in my head I'm like I think of Billy Madison's back to school to prove to Daddy I'm not a fool.
I love it.
Shoes tied tight.
Yeah.
Oh no, lunch packed up, shoes tied tight. Hope I don't get into a fight.
Can I tell you a tragedy of adulthood? One of the many.
Yeah, go ahead.
You don't get to buy school supplies. I loved going and like, I want these folders, I want that pencil bag, I want these pencils, the whole thing. The school clothes. Did you pick a first day of school like outfit?
I hated school.
Okay, fine. But like, you weren't like, this is what I'm going to wear my first day of school.
No, I can't remember it. If I did, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, I definitely did that.
Out.
I definitely had like a first day of school outfit going on. Yeah. You're going to meet people.
Yeah.
There's going to be ladies there.
I guess.
You got to do your best. You got to put your best foot forward. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, well, so this is what the darkest timeline of my life looked like.
Caring. Caring about your own future.
Yeah.
Wow. That is dark.
Yeah.
Just
kidding. No, I think I enjoyed back to school shopping. I think I had some cool notebooks.
You had a JP Trapper Keeper, right? Jurassic Park Trapper Keeper?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Trapper Keepers.
I think by the time I was using Trapper Keepers,
I love a good Trapper Keeper.
You couldn't find any Jurassic Park Trapper Keepers.
Is a Trapper Keeper still a thing?
I don't know.
Oh.
No. What was I gonna say?
No.
I liked putting. I liked going to the grocery store and getting paper bags and then covering my school books with those.
Oh, okay.
So.
Hey, Mental Floss has a great article on the history of the Trapper Keeper, so anybody in your free time can look that up.
Right.
I loved the Trapper
There's a pretty
Keeper.
good South Park episode where Cartman gets a Dawson's Creek Trapper Keeper.
Yeah.
This is years after Dawson's Creek was popular.
Yeah.
But he's so excited by it because it's so smart. It actually starts like becoming self-aware and starts taking over the world. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a Skynet situation from Terminator. It's a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
okay, whatever.
As we've been giving out little
Nerd.
hints, we're going to be talking about the old
hints?
required reading list.
Yeah.
So I've told you a couple of user comments that have come in while we're recording. There's plenty more that we're going to cover, and maybe some exciting new ones will show up.
Yes.
But we're going to be talking about the reading list. So we have a few places that we're going to be pulling from, and we have our own collection.
Where have these people been coming from live?
Just
Facebook. Right, I got it.
mostly. Oh, I could check Twitter.
We have a lot.
I know.
On this Facebook.
I know.
Okay.
It's an exciting topic. And Eric, just to do a little business here, pat you on the back. Before Eric started, we did not have a reading list section in this library. Like, we had some books that
They were just kept in like paperback with the young adults.
Yeah, they were just with the regular old books. So like, if you were looking for a classic section for kids, it didn't exist, and so the numbers weren't great on them. And I was looking back here, I was looking up, what our most circulated items from that collection are, and the majority of that collection has checkouts between 2015 and 2017, like all but the most recent ones.
That's when I got there.
That's what I'm saying. Separating them out like that has made them like really work. So I pulled some figures, and I'm going to tell you the David A. Howe Library's top 10 circulating classics. Now, these are just the classics in the young adult section. There's many copies in the adult section, but we're talking about school age here.
All right, so start at 10.
Start at 10. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2. Okay, here it is.
All right.
With 26 checkouts.
Oh boy, you're gonna throw out numbers too. Okay.
The Old Man and the Sea.
Yeah.
By Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah.
All right.
Didn't understand.
Number 9.
I mean, I did.
27 checkouts. It was close. It was a close race.
Close race.
Little Women by Louisa May Alcott.
Okay.
Number 8 with 28 checkouts. Very close. Very close. Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson.
Yeah.
Number 7 with 29 checkouts. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger.
That is very popular.
Then we have a little bit of a jump here. 37 checkouts. Care to guess?
Frankenstein or Dracula.
Incorrect.
Okay.
The Iliad of Homer. 37 checkouts. Pop up to 43 checkouts. Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell.
Weird.
Number 4, 49 checkouts.
Oh, wow.
Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury.
Good call.
The top 2 were surprising to me, but I guess they won't be surprised to you. But number 3, Catch-22 by Joseph Heller with 60 checkouts. With 68 checkouts, we have Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Nice.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I'm always shelving it.
Are you really?
It's always, we have multiple copies of it too.
Okay.
For some reason, that and Frankenstein are alys checking out.
Yeah.
So-
I did combine the numbers on multiple copies to get that
Okay,
number.
good.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah. The top 10, I combined all the copies together.
there you go.
Any guess on what our number 1?
So it's not Frankenstein.
It's not Frankenstein. Frankenstein was actually a little... Frankenstein
You said
had about...
Fahrenheit. I don't think it's Animal Farm.
Yep.
What do I shelve Wuthering Heights a lot,
Okay.
but it's not Wuthering Heights, is it?
All right. No, it's not. You know what, actually, though? I was wrong about Frankenstein. You were right. That should have been at number 6 with 33 checkouts.
There you go.
I missed a second copy that put it up there. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's high up there. It's Pride and Prejudice by
Okay.
Jane Austen.
There you go.
75 checkouts.
Yeah.
Do any of those surprise you?
Little Women, I think.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that surprised me.
All right.
Mainly because I don't see it. I feel like I don't shelve it that much.
Okay.
But yeah, Frankenstein and Dracula, I'm always having to go put them back.
You have 2 copies of those. One was
Catcher in the
17,
Rye
one was 16.
is
so.
a lot, yeah. So, yeah, it's not a huge section, but it's where we keep all those books.
Well, I think it's been a pretty successful section, though.
yeah.
That's nice. And I don't think it's
New
a
York
lot
City
of people...
libraries are laughing at us right now.
I know
But
they
you know
are.
what, guys?
Yeah.
Come down to our level.
Yeah.
Or, well, no, or up to our
or-
level.
yeah.
It's a parallel. It's a lateral level.
Have you found much... do you get a lot of comments on that section? Do you see people
No, but you can
browsing it
definitely
a
tell
lot?
some of the nerdier kids because of that section.
Yeah.
Because they just Like there was one girl who must have been like 12.
You mean intelligent, astute
Sure.
kids?
She must have been like somewhere between 12 and 14.
Yeah.
She was looking, and then I just heard her go, "Yes!" And she pulled off the complete works of Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes. I was like, that nerd.
That's pretty high on the list as well.
That's also where we keep some nonfiction stuff. So that's where we keep Shakespeare books, but also Anne Frank, and those check out quite a bit too.
Yep, Helen Keller's got a lot of checkouts here. The Story of My Life.
Yeah,
that almost made it in the top 10.
Yeah, so I think some kids just go over there, and also some adults come in like, where the heck is this?
Okay.
So,
did you have a moment in high school or middle school or whatever you call it, where you had to read a book and it?
Yeah, you're the only one I know who didn't have to read books in high school or in school.
That's not entirely true. I just don't, like, I haven't read a lot of the class. I didn't have to read classics in school, which is weird. It's
in
weird
8th grade, I had to read Animal Farm and Fahrenheit 451.
Okay.
And they're like favorites of mine.
Okay.
I reread them since.
Were you begrudging? Were you like, oh, man? Or
no, English was one of the classes I did well in.
Okay.
Because I liked reading, and you could read in class. So, and usually, you had your own free reading. Mm-hmm. So, no, I didn't usually go into that class begrudgingly.
Okay.
Only when I had a bad teacher did I dislike it. But
Burn.
English class is where I first read Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
Where I first read Most Dangerous Game.
Okay.
So, all good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking to see. We didn't get a Fahrenheit 451 mention on the.
That's fine.
On
I'll
social
mention.
media,
That's a great essential read. I love it.
Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
I've read that. Yeah, that is good.
That was really good. I mean, I read lots of stuff because of school, because I had to, like, not just high school, like all through school that I ended up really liking. There weren't a lot that I was like, this was a bad book.
Okay.
I can't really think of it. I think I read The Pearl, or maybe like a shortened version of
Steinbeck?
The Pearl. Yeah.
Okay.
That I liked. So for the most part, I didn't usually hate required reading.
Okay.
But I also didn't have to read stuff, maybe because I didn't get that far.
Mm-hmm. You didn't have to read real heavy stuff.
I didn't have to read stuff like Old Man in the Sea. Like, I didn't get to any Hemingway. I didn't have to read The Great Gatsby or anything. So, yeah.
As we've discussed in other podcasts, I devoured the illustrated classics.
Yes.
Which I think are a really great introduction to that sort of thing. Because I read those from an early age, and those stories.
See, I didn't have to read many of that either. Many of, like, the super older stuff. I read the Great Illustrated Classics, but it wasn't required reading. I'm pretty sure that's how I also read Call of the Wild and White Fang, like, on my own and stuff, which is interesting.
Okay.
So, but we have so many comments. I feel like we need to get to them.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Starting now.
Sure. Go ahead. Give us the first one.
Like, I keep refreshing the page, and I keep refreshing our Facebook page, and it keeps getting added.
Yep.
So we've got Melanie on Facebook. She said, all right, so that moved you. We asked on Facebook, did you ever have a book assigned to you in high school that ended up really moving you, and what was it? So Melanie says To Kill a Mockingbird and Walden Pond.
See, no, I really wish that I would have been forced to read To Kill a Mockingbird as a child, because I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Right.
If I read that younger, because I didn't read that until Go Set a Watchman.
Okay.
So I wish that I would have read it younger, because I think that's a really good time to...
Yeah.
That's a very approachable one.
Right.
Because, I mean, sadly, the themes of racism are still just as relevant today as they were when it was written. And that is one where you have a young protagonist that is easily relatable to most ages, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
I could see that really, like, as a child, that having a big thing.
Right.
Kayla
says, go ask Alice.
Which I wasn't familiar with. Did you know that one?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
A teen plunges into a downward spiral of addiction in this classic cautionary tale.
Yes.
Published anonymously.
Yeah.
We now know it was Beatrice Sparks who wrote that, but it's like
nice try, Beatrice.
a diary of drug use and all that. So yeah, I imagine that would be a pretty powerful one too.
Yeah. Liz says Hatchet, which you read because
of this podcast.
I don't remember
both Liz and Steven
if Hatchet was required reading for me. I read it. It wasn't in. I think I read it in like 6th or 7th grade, or maybe even younger. But I don't think it was required reading. I think it might have been on my own, and I know it was in response because I liked My Side of the Mountain, and I don't know if that was required reading. But both of those tend to be. And I think I liked those because I liked Where the Red Ferns Grows, which was required reading.
Okay.
So, flowers for Tanya says flowers for Algernon.
Oh,
this was required reading for me.
I've never
really
read
liked
that.
it.
I've never read that. I've had a copy for a while. I've always wanted to, and I just haven't sat down.
You should, man. It's really
Daniel
good.
Keyes.
It won a Hugo.
Yeah. So. Well, it's definitely highly regarded.
Lisa says Catcher in the Rye. Have you read that one?
No.
Catcher in the Rye?
No.
Nor have I. Part of me feels like I started it.
This is another place that we were looking for. This is an article that originally appeared on the Huffington Post. 11 required reading books you should reread now that you're older. Originally written by Madeline Crum. And this is one that she covered in that, Catcher in the Rye. This is from a Vulture article by Margaret Lyons. Coming-of-age stories aren't just about characters coming of age. They're sometimes reflections of how we ourselves came of age, or didn't.
Oh.
Picking up Catcher in the Rye for the first time feels like glimpsing a secret world that you're so glad exists. Pick it up later, even just a few years later, and it reads like a sad, albeit compelling story of depression, isolation, and plain old immaturity.
Okay. Dara, or Dara, maybe it's Daria,
Yeah.
said the first time they were moved by a book from school was reading The Number in the Stars in 5th grade. And I never read that in 5th grade, or at least I can't remember doing that.
Okay.
But,
that's Lois Lowry.
Yes.
Okay.
But I remember reading a lot of like Holocaust survivor books in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And them always like really sticking with me as a kid. There's something about that age where like it's weird, but you just become like obsessed with that topic.
Well, that's a decorated book. It won the Newbery Medal, National Jewish Book Award for Children's Literature, all sorts of things. So,
okay. Carol says The Scarlet Letter. And I haven't read that.
I haven't read The Scarlet
but
Letter
it's been
either.
spoiled
Hawthorne,
for us
Nathaniel Hawthorne.
because we read Silver Batgirl.
Silver
Lining Playbook.
Yeah. Yes, they ruined a lot of classics in that.
Yes. And then Jennifer says The Rapture of Canaan.
Yeah, I know of that book,
Okay.
but I haven't. That's not one that I've
Fantastic.
read.
Abby says the things
Sherry
they
Reynolds
carried.
wrote The Rupture.
Okay, the things they carried. It was assigned when I was in junior. I was a junior in 2001. Is not something I would have chosen on my own, but reading it definitely left a lasting impression, especially as we watched the September 11th unfold that year. So
Okay.
what is? I guess I don't know what the things they carried is about. That they would then connect it to September 11th.
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay, and I'll tell you,
gotta
Sarah, friend of the show, Sarah says A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. So,
Have you read any James Joyce?
I have
Ulysses
not.
Okay.
my friend.
The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. They carried malaria tablets, love letters, 28-pound mine detectors, dope, illustrated Bibles, each other. The Things They Carried depicts the men of Alpha Company and the character Tim O'Brien, who has survived his tour in Vietnam to become a father and writer at the age of 43.
Okay.
So, heavy.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I'm still happening. I keep hitting refresh. The list keeps getting longer.
Let me pull one from Twitter here.
Okay.
Miss Music Box 91, who suggested the topic anyway, weighed in with her favorites. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston and The Great Gatsby. Great Gatsby, you a fan?
I read it. I didn't like it.
Didn't like it. Okay. Her least favorites were Old Man in the Sea and Heart of Darkness. And you were sort of indifferent to Old Man in the Sea, right? You didn't really...
No, I mean, it was fine. I get what it was going for. I liked it enough. I didn't understand why the Red Hot Chili Peppers, specifically
Yes,
Anthony Kiedis,
sure.
were singing that
Yep.
in The Hunter. So, no, it's fine. You kind of get it. It's a guy who goes fishing, and he has to... It's like a huge fish, and he almost kills himself getting it.
Yeah.
And it's just this big deal. It's probably like his last hurrah, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We just got another comment before we move on. Facebook user Melanie also says The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien.
Hey.
She says, it was my first time truly understanding the horrors of war and the sacrifices of the military. It was also my first time reading about the Vietnam War, so that would certainly have an impact.
Okay.
You have some others you want to mention?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay.
Maggie says a separate piece. Tina of the same library system as us
That's true. Hi, Tina.
says Of Human Bondage left a big impression on me, although I don't know if it was necessarily in a good way. I'm unfamiliar with that.
Well,
this one's interesting.
Our question really was moving, so
Yes.
it sounds like that was moving.
Carrie says Great Expectations, and I have seen like films or like adaptations of that. I guess I don't know. It's interesting that moved them. That's what's his name, Dickens.
Yep.
So Abby says a prayer for Owen Meany.
Okay.
Carol says the lottery.
The lottery. Interesting.
Yeah. Katie on Facebook says Slaughterhouse-Five.
Oh, Kurt Vonnegut.
Which I still have not read.
No?
I need to. It's.
Are you a Kurt Vonnegut fan?
No, I've just never read Slaughterhouse-Five.
Oh, okay.
And everybody
Yeah.
talks about
Well, our former director, Michelle, she was a big Kurt Vonnegut fan. She swore by him.
Kevin Bacon picks up on the warning signs when he says he liked Slaughterhouse-Five, and all the people in town say, "Not for us."
Wow.
That's in the movie Footloose.
I see.
He's like, "Geez, they don't like Slaughterhouse-Five?
Sure.
What's next? Dance?"
A classic in its own right.
All right, so
Footloose.
right, Melanie said the
Yes,
thing they
yeah,
carry.
we got that.
And Amy on Facebook says "Song of Solomon" by Toni Morrison.
Oh yeah, I've read Song of Solomon.
Oh yeah,
That's an odd book. I didn't find it particularly moving. It was sort of I guess kind of an immersive experience. Just the culture and the things happening were very different from what I'm used to. So it left an impact. Why don't let's get away from this for a minute and let's take a look at the some more of the HuffPost.
Yeah, so this is 11 required reading books you should reread now that you're older. So
Yes.
Nick, take it away.
Sure, Romeo and Juliet. Did you say you read Romeo and Juliet?
In school, yes.
And
It was fine,
okay.
I guess. It didn't really do much for me. I mean, it's a good story.
I was in a production of West Side Story as a teenager, so I think I've got it.
I don't remember a lot from it, but I do remember that there's a line, "Hand me my longsword, ho." And
You were confused by it?
no, I wasn't confused. It was just at one time I was in class and we had to say quotes from
Yeah.
Shakespeare, and everyone in class had gone before me, so all the good ones were taken. So I was like, I don't know if I should just say it. And he was like, just go ahead. I was like, "Hand me my longsword, ho." And the teacher was just kind of looked at me, tossed his chalk to the board, and was like, "Class dismissed."
Nice, you got the final word.
Yeah.
Reading this tale of young love for the first time, it seems so sincere. Would you die for your one true love? 1,000 times yes. We're not saying this classic story, again, this is Huffington Post.
Yeah, this
is
is
completely cynical and tongue-in-cheek, but the bard, we think, was a little too nuanced to write something so maudlin. Take a closer look at the play and you'll find more realistic intricacies, like the fact that Romeo very clearly was a serial monogamist and probably codependent.
Yeah, that was
So
Nick's
says-
opinion,
So
not the
says the
Huffington.
Huffington Post.
We have The Awakening by Kate Chopin. Now, I don't know if you know this, but she's usually chopping broccoli. I'm sorry I said chopping broccoli. From SNL.
Odd Dana Carvey
Sorry.
reference.
I can't see it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
If I didn't know her, she'd be the woman I didn't know.
I don't get it.
That's another line from the
No,
chopping
from
broccoli.
the chopping
song.
broccoli. Okay.
She's chopping broccoli.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about The Awakening by Kate Chopin?
Sure. Awakenings in high school generally involved edgy new haircuts or the realization that Hemingway existed and was actually a pretty cool guy and a jerk. It'd be difficult to fully process the conflicting, restrictive nature of a family life when you're still being provided for rather than doing some of the providing. Besides, by now you may have read some of the Southern literature this book served as a catalyst for, like Flannery O'Connor and Adora Wetely. Okay, that didn't tell me anything about the book. I don't
No,
think.
it didn't. It didn't. They also recommend The Odyssey by Homer. Have you read The Iliad of the Odyssey? Because I have not. But I
read the Odyssey in school.
Okay. There's a new like translation of the Iliad that's coming out. It's supposed to be very good. So I ordered that for our collection. Should be
like
coming
the
down the
Odyssey.
pike. A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Huffington Post suggests you take another look. I read the illustrated classic of this one, and it did nothing for me. But I love Charles Dickens' writing, so I would like to go back sometime. Their Eyes Were Watching God. I know my wife loves this book. It was also one of our Facebook or Twitter suggestions as well. The Stranger by Albert Camus.
Yeah, I thought you were going to get. They say this was a polarizing one in high school. Some young readers were appalled by Marisalt's callousness, and his lack of explanation for committing a heinous crime seemed blatantly sociopathic. Sure, there's no such thing as an incorrect interpreter, but we think Camus' book deserves to be revisited, especially by those who disliked it. When read as an objective explanation of myriad philosophies, exceptionalist, absurdist, naturalism, blah, 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 it may be better appreciated. See, I actually like this book, and I just thought it was just a story of a guy who just doesn't care, who just doesn't care about anything, who maybe is a sociopath, but he feels enough to be bothered by that. Because at the end, he kind of goes off on somebody, and it's very, like, emotional, but he's really just telling him, like, what's it matter if he cares or doesn't care or all this stuff. It's almost like he's yelling at the guy that caring is more of an issue than his. So I actually enjoyed it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
They put The Handmaid's Tale on here by Margaret Atwood.
This article predates the TV show as well. So
yeah.
Now I don't know this one very well. You've seen the show?
I haven't seen the show.
Oh, okay.
But this is one that we also keep in our young adult section because I think historically it's been young adult, but now the show is very very adult.
Yeah.
So I don't know if things have changed, but it's dystopia. Yeah.
Now the last one that they're recommending here is The Telltale Heart and Other Writings by Edgar Allan Poe. I actually did read this and quite a bit of Edgar Allan Poe in school, in a lit class. Huffington Post says, to young adults, Poe is among the more enticing authors on the required reading list. He writes stories, for starters, and they're about as thrilling as scary stories to tell in the dark. But Poe is more than a macabre teller of ghost stories. He was one of the first recognized short story writers, and he essentially spawned the entire genre of detective fiction. It's a bold claim.
Interesting.
Plus, a thorough rereading will expose you to his finest, less recognized gems like The Cask of Amontillado.
See, I actually read that one.
Someone returned this book from our reading list this morning while I was working the children's desk. So
that is a fun fact.
Proof that it works.
Yeah, I read The Cask in 8th grade as well. I liked it. It's the one where the guy takes that person down into the catacombs and starts walling him off alive.
I always because I didn't read a lot of these in school, so whenever the situation arises where I have to look at lists of classics, I'm always shamed that I haven't read more. So I try to work them into the rotation.
Well, I only just read Of Mice and Men and The Giver and stuff as an adult. So.
And did you find that they still? How different do you think your takeaway from those was reading them as an adult versus reading them as a teen or preteen?
I don't know. I think I'd be more in the moment reading the book.
Okay.
I'd be more in it, more absorbed. But I mean, I really did like The Giver and stuff. I think if you read them as an adult, you can analyze them more.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not as thrown about by emotions as maybe you are as a kid.
Yeah. Sometimes I think their stature can be off-putting to people. They know that this is supposed to be a great book, and they're supposed to love it and read it, and that can be intimidating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have do you try to read classics?
Sometimes.
Do you find yourself?
Yeah, I thought I just read one recently. I can't be sure.
I try to work them into the rotation. A lot of the reason why we're doing this Northanger Abbey now is because when I was at a conference, I picked up a copy of the books. I'd never read it before, and I read the first couple of pages and was really intrigued by it. And I thought, oh, well, this will be fun.
Yeah.
So it's nice to work them into the book club every now and then.
Yeah.
But just in my regular reading,
I still plan to read For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Okay.
And, what's that one book? Heart of Darkness. 'Cause I haven't read it. But I tend to like movies or other books that people are it's like his version of the Heart of Darkness. So I'm I must.
Yeah, you must.
There must be part of me that wants to just read the Heart of Darkness.
That's where the troubles can come in sometime, because that was me in To Kill a Mockingbird to the extreme. Yeah. I was I have read this story hundreds of times, and just because that was the progenitor, it still
is true.
It feels like you've done it, been there, done that.
Yeah,
as the kids said in the early 2000s.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah,
that was then. This is now, buddy.
They said it all the time. Well, thank you very much to our listeners for all of their responses, and I'm sorry we couldn't get to them all, but please continue to send them in and send us suggestions for future episodes. And stay in school, kids.
Yeah, that's very important.
Read your reading list, kids. And if you need a good copy, stop into the David A. Howe Public Library in the Young Adults Corner.
Yeah.
Reading list selection.
Yeah.
We'll show you right where they are.
Oh, boy.
What do you
Butterfly in the sky.
Joining us next week, LeVar Burton. Just kidding.
Yes.
LeVar Burton, though, started a new podcast called LeVar Burton Reads, where he reads short stories. And guess who's a subscriber? This guy.
Nice.
Do you know LeVar Burton more from Reading Rainbow, Roots, or Star Trek The Next Generation? Don't say Community, because I know...
As a kid, Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, Reading Rainbow.
As an adult, probably still Reading Rainbow.
Okay.
So,
as a senior citizen like you are now?
Oh, then Roots.
Roots,
definitely,
okay. Roots. Okay, very good. Well, we've got our first concert of the season on Thursday.
Library news.
Thursday the 31st. Library news.
Thank you. Otherwise, they think we're still doing this.
Adam Stack, Jason Marsden You're going to come up on stage, play all sorts of instruments, play all sorts of genres. Yeah. It's going to blow your mind musically.
John Mayer will not be attending.
He will not be there. So. No, he won't. He won't. That is a promise to you all. So please join us for that Thursday at 7 o'clock. I mentioned the book clubs. You can sign up for those anytime.
Yeah.
And we've got a busy schedule. We've got Naomi Shihab Nye coming in October. We're getting excited about that.
Yeah.
A lot of concerts, a lot of talks. History Week is next month, so we'll give you all the information about that coming up.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a busy couple of months here at the David A. Howe Public Library.
Yeah.
So hope you'll join us for any and all of these programs.
Yeah.
Also, tell your friends.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add before we close up shop?
No.
Okay. All right. I respect your decision.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Remember, send us your ideas for upcoming episodes.
Next week is 107.
Next week is 107. We'll see you then.